This PWC racer overcame massive expectations to become one of the greatest of all time in the sport. Dustin Farthing was born into racing with his father's love for anything engines. He started riding jet skis at the age of 14 and quickly proved that talent and hard work can drive success. At age 15, he quickly turned pro after being scouted from the beach by Yamaha and started climbing the pro ladder. His hard work and dedication throughout his career has put him as a top rider with over 27 titles in the premier class. His career success led him into multiple opportunities, including business. In 2024, the Georgia native retired, and most thought he would sail off into the sunset, but he stunned the industry in December of 2025 by announcing that he's revamping the sport alongside the IHRA. Dustin stands as a testament that your legacy is earned through dedication, resilience, and the pure love for the game. Thanks for joining our first podcast, and please welcome Dustin Farthing.
What's up,
Hey,
man?
how's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, dude. So I think some of the people that are watching this will obviously know who you are, especially from like people who love Sea-Doos and just anybody who likes jet ski racing. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you got into the sport?
Yeah, so my name's obviously Dustin Farthing. I'm been in the watercraft racing for 35 years. Been racing professionally since 1995. I started in watercraft racing in 1992. I originally started as a motocrosser. I started racing dirt bikes and three-wheelers and four-wheelers at Loretta Lynn's, and motocross all the way when I started about 4 years old. I started riding a bike at 3 years old and started racing at 4. I raced all the way through, as a young kid on motocross, and then kind of got into jet ski racing in the early 90s. My dad had some shops, some little repair shops at the time, back, 1,000 square foot, 800 square foot repair shops. And a guy actually brought a 550 or 440. It was actually a 440, brought a Kawasaki 440 in to trade it in. And my dad was actually getting ready to get me into go-karts. And this guy brought this jet ski in. It was blown up. He bought it for like $500, fixed it up. And we started going to the Causeway by my house in Stuart, Florida, and started riding. And then we lucked out. We heard maybe 4 months later, there was the IHRA Budweiser National Tour was coming to Daytona Beach that next weekend. And my dad took me up there and we went and checked it out. It was the pro race. And that was that race. And then the very next weekend was the Fort Myers IHRA Bud National Tour. It was the last 2 rounds of the National Tour in 92. And actually 91. And then we kind of went and checked it out. And I got hooked from then on. I started riding all winter. And then 92 rolled around, and there actually ended up being a local jet ski race with about 20 people in my town. And my dad took me to the jet ski race, and I raced for the first time in 1992. And the rest is kind of, history.
First couple months or something for your life, and then you guys moved to Florida. So did your dad is that what he did for a living, was repair things, or how did he get into it?
Yeah, so how it started, my father is 2 different trades. He has always grown up his entire life, grew up on a farm right in Illinois in a town called Mansfield, Illinois, which is a town with 800 people in it, and there wasn't much going on. So they were farmers, corn and bean farmers, and my dad kind of grew up just working on stuff his entire life. And he had some little repair shops when I was born in Illinois, but he was also a superintendent for a construction company. And we ended up moving to Florida when I was a year old. He was a superintendent for a company called Stobbs Construction. And he got moved to Miami to build the Miami Lakes Hospital and the Miami Lakes Burger King corporate offices in 1980. He worked for a general contractor. He was a superintendent, but growing up when he was young, he was a carpenter, drywall framer. Pretty much he's the jack of all trades. If my dad literally can do any single thing from, build all my skis to build an entire house. Most of the houses I've lived in, my father's built himself. He's a wire, AC, electric.
Damn.
There's not a human trade that he cannot do.
That's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's actually, I do construction by trade. So I'm a project manager for electrical contractor. So I don't do the jet ski things all the time, but it seems like a lot of people are in the trades that are doing the jet ski stuff.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of go hand in hand, right? If you get into watercraft racing, you came from some kind of trade at some point.
Yeah, I feel like any kind of racing somebody does, you got to do something with your hands. If you're not at a repair shop, then you're swinging hammers or whatever else, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So your first race was 92.
Yeah, my first race was in the beginning of 92, early, like maybe February of 1992.
That was stand-ups or runabouts?
That was stand-ups. That was on a Kawasaki 440 stand-up back then.
Awesome. When did you move to runabouts, and what made you move to runabouts?
I moved to runabouts. I raced stand-ups 92 through 95, and I moved to runabouts in 1995. So backtrack a little bit. In 1993, I was at a race in Islamorada. I kind of got lucky. I was at a race in Islamorada, Florida, and actually it was the wintertime of 92. I take that back. Wintertime of 92. And Yamaha happened to be there. The marketing race manager at the time happened to be at Islamorada at a jet ski race and saw me race, came up to my dad and said, "Hey, what's your son's name? How old is he? And we'd like to sponsor him. He's got talent that we'd be interested in sponsoring." And 1993, they gave me my first jet skis, and I raced 93 on the national tour for the first time. And I was riding a Yamaha Wave Blaster and a Super Jet back then. And then 95, I actually went to the runabout class. So I raced sport and stand-up all the way through to 1995.
So Yamaha scouted you from the beach.
Yep. And then,
that's awesome.
Yeah, by 1994, I was, so I would have been 1993, I was getting free equipment. 1994, I was, 15 years old. And I started getting my first paychecks from Yamaha at 15 years old.
Yeah, before you even had a license or a car, you're racing jet skis at 15 and getting checks from Yamaha. That's awesome.
Yeah, the first, I've never had a vehicle or anything paid for by anyone other than myself, because I made my own money by the time I was 15 years old and bought my own first car. My dad's never bought me a vehicle, and I bought every single thing that I own myself. So, everything, when they say self-made, this is the true definition of it.
Hell yeah, dude. And I don't think a lot of people, I think a lot of people look at sponsored racers, whether it's cars, jet skis, dirt bikes, whatever, and just think that you're handed everything. So it's really cool to hear the backside of that, to where you earned all your stuff yourself and you were just kind of handpicked.
A lot of people, take for granted what it takes to get there, right? At 1992, I was, trying to make it, man. And I raced, to be honest with you, I raced the Busch World Cup back then, and I would race weekend after weekend after weekend. And I can probably for over a year, I didn't even like podium, even get on the podium, right? And dude, not even the novice class and super stock or mod or whatever it was called back in the day. There was 40 to 45 guys on the line trying to qualify for the main, and then 14 to 16 would go to the main, and trying to get on the podium was a feat, right? So it was a little bit of a learning experience, but I would start going. My dad would start taking me to the water before school in the morning. I would get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'd be at the water. I'd ride for an hour in the morning, and then I'd get out of school. I'd ride for an hour or two after school, and I rode every weekend. I rode all the time, and I've always been one of those guys. Like, I don't need anybody to push me to do anything. I kind of grew up in a house where, we had to do something. My family came from, we did all right. Right. My dad will tell you he did enough to get me where I am. Right. But if I didn't get some sponsorships and start doing something, my racing career was going to be very short. So, I felt very quickly when I got the ability to get sponsored by Yamaha that it was my job to shit or get off the pot, right? To be what people expected me to be. And, start winning races and making money. And, by 94, I was lucky enough for Yamaha to offer my dad a job to be my mechanic full time. So I went from
No way.
my dad taking care of me to me being able to return the favor and pay him back. And, he was my mechanic my entire career, and all the manufacturers over the years that I rode for, they all paid him to take care of my equipment.
Your dad did all the tuning and the two strokes and everything for you, right?
My dad did everything for 2 strokes and 4 strokes.
4 strokes too. I didn't know that part.
Yeah. Awesome. Even when I rode for Factory Kawasaki, they hired him to build all my equipment, do my motors and engines and skis and all my stuff. He was actually my personal mechanic. I only did 1 year that he wasn't my mechanic, and that was in 1997 when I rode for West Coast. And after the 3rd race, they ended up hiring him after the 3rd race because they blew up about 15 engines in the first 3 months. And they ended up hiring my dad to come in and help guide. He wasn't actually my mechanic on a weekly basis. There was a guy named Larry and Dave Alexander, but my father was kind of overseeing those guys to make sure the shit was going the right direction. I didn't hire my dad back in those days, as the factories were kind of like super like restrictive about, they didn't want a dad being on the team to be able to, whether the team was going to be able to manage the dad and the kid together, right? Where they after about a few months, they realized that the only way they were going to get it done is if they got my dad back involved, because him and I just had a relationship, and when we do things, it was going to work.
So you were the Deegan for Yamaha before Deegan.
Yeah, basically I was
pretty much what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I was the watercraft version of Deegan for sure.
Take us through a little bit of, you said qualifying. Obviously now there's not a lot of qualifying. You're a new race season this year, which is in 3 weeks. We probably will have qualifying just because the sheer number of entries, but locally we don't have qualifying. We do a site lap, and then, we get called to the line, we race. So take us through how it used to be in the 90s when everybody was just racing, and what qualifying was, what you had to do, and then how many were on the line for the actual main event.
So, like pretty much my entire career, right? Like, or in the early parts of my career, right? Obviously over the last few years, it's kind of, changed a little bit, but, in the early days, right? Like you're referring back to, there would be, for example, 40 guys in a race, trying to qualify. So they would do, either 2 to 3 or 2 to 3 qualifiers. And then it would go to a semi qualifier, and then it would go from a semi to an LCQ, and then an LCQ to the main. And they would take those 40 guys down to, depending on if it was a runabout or a stand-up, anywhere between 14 to 22, depending on if it was novice, expert, pro, depending on what it was.
So it's a lot like how motocross is now.
Exactly the same.
That's how it used to be.
Okay. Absolutely. Yep.
And then did guys get, like, how was the payouts back in the day?
Yeah, so it was really good. You're like, are you asking about like prize money or salaries from the manufacturers?
I think more of prize money. Like, they didn't do what they do for motocross now. Like, if you made it to a main event in 450 or 250, I think you get like $1,000. Like, there's nothing like that. There was just 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah, so they paid, the manufacturers paid, or I'm sorry, not the manufacturers, the sanctioning body would pay the top 3 they didn't pay anything to make it to the main, but they paid for the like first, second, third place, back anywhere between 7,500 for first to 5,000, and then it kind of went down from there. And then you also got contingency, like us as racers with like Yamaha, Kawasaki, Sea-Doo, we got contingency from, like, I was riding for Oakley for a long time. I rode for PJ1. Pretty much every sponsor I had a contingency program, but also the series, the sanctioning bodies had contingency programs. For example, let's say if you had MSD on your ski, they gave you an MSD sticker on the weekend. They would give you an NGK sticker on the weekend. They would give you Wiseco, Cometic, and each one of those sponsors that sponsored the series would pay a small amount as well, from $100 to $200 for first, second, third each weekend as well.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah,
that's nice. So they were like, if you had those type of parts, did they give you that part for free, and then you had the sticker on the weekends? Or is it like you ran their stuff, you ran their sticker, and if you're like, hey, if you get first, second, third, we'll give you $50, $100?
No, basically you could have any piston or gasket you wanted as long as you had their sticker on their ski. you could be eligible for that contingency program.
Oh, that's cool. So you just went up to him and said, "Hey, I'll run your sticker. If I get first, give me $100."
Yeah, you didn't have to go to them. You just went to the tech. When you went to tech inspection, you would sign up for it, and you'd sign up when you went for tech on the weekend, or like before the weekend started. You would go get your tech inspection sticker. You would get your contingency stickers, and then you would fill out a little form that you were signing up for that contingency program. And then after the weekend, you had to submit your pay certificates back in, with your results, and submit your results back from the weekend with that. And then they would pay, every 3 or 4 weeks for what you won.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that they ever did something like that. It's kind of wild to think that you could just sign up and grab a sticker and, come with maybe a small pot to pay for your gas or something.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like there would be approximately, in expert, you could win probably $300 or $400 on a weekend, in a class between, let's say NGK was $100 and MSD was $100 or $150. And then you got Weisco, Cometic, and, VP Fuels and all the different ones, right? You could make $300 to $500 and then possibly up to $1,000 in the pro class.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When did you switch from Yamaha to Sea-Doo then? Because I didn't know that in your career, Yamaha was first and the Sea-Doo came later. Was it that their machines, the X4 or whatever, I think you actually raced before X4s were out, but what made you switch to that and why?
So, yeah, I started my runabout sit-down career started in 1995 at Yamaha, and I was riding the notorious Yamaha Wave Raider, which is the worst handling watercraft probably known to mankind. But I raced that watercraft 95 and 96. And 95, we were riding basically a stock Wave Raider. And then in 96, they built modified hull Wave Raiders at the time because it was mod rules. And then 96 World Finals, 96 World Finals, they basically built a Wave Raider top deck with a X4 bottom that was extended out to match the top deck.
So Yamaha got an X4 bottom?
Yeah, so we, well, not Yamaha themselves, but they were working with companies called Bullet Racing and Rick Pott and other companies, right, that were building all the aftermarket hulls back then for everybody. Bullet Racing, for example, they were building their own Sea-Doo X4 hulls well before that. They were building their hulls 93, 94, 95. So they already had the Sea-Doo hulls, right? Well, then they got contracted by Yamaha to build hulls. So they started building like X4 version hulls that were extended out. It started as an X4 shape that was, 3 foot longer to match the Wave Raider top deck.
So Bullet is responsible for the X4, correct?
I don't think that Bullet actually built the original X4. I think it actually was made by Sea-Doo. Bullet and Rick Pott were the ones that ended up making the modified Bullet hull like X4 designs later down the road, which then turned into Fiberworks and other companies along the way. But I think Sea-Doo actually made the X4 hull to start with. It was, like the 580 hull started with.
Yeah, that would have been like let's see, 94 XP was the weird body style. So that would have been like a 90. Well, no, I think a 94 SP would have been somewhat the first X4.
Yeah, exactly. That was started as kind of the first X4. And then they took it, like thinking the first X4 came out, 94, 95?
It would have been the 800, which was 95 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that ski ended up, just being based off of the SP version.
You are correct, because that would have been the 95, because the 95 had the trim tabs and it was a 717. And then they
it was definitely 95 because Fischetti was riding that hull in 95.
Yeah. So I was just curious because somebody had told me that Bullet was designing the bottom decks and then somewhat had a hand in designing the top deck for the Sea-Doo X4. And I actually own a 94 Bullet hull that was, who's the dude that owns Bomber?
Tom Bonacci.
I own Bonacci's boat. It's actually in Florida right now getting painted like that. Remember that neon, it like faded out neon?
Yeah. So that would have been, when he was riding for Bonacci rode for Rusty at Bullet and Danny Gowicki back in 93, 94.
Yeah. I have one of those. It's got that goofy, it's like almost like a snowmobile motor, and it's got that
Yep.
huge expansion pipe that goes to the back that like
Yep.
snakes around the whole backside. Yeah,
Yep.
so I got it in pieces. I don't know if I'll ever be able to assemble it. I'm sure I'll figure it out, but that's in
Who's
the back
painting it?
burner. Have you ever heard of Neil Ski?
Oh yeah, I've known Neil
He's
Ski, of
so
course.
he so I know you know Vanilla Ice. He's one of your good friends, right?
Correct.
So
Neil
Neil
Ski does
Ski,
all. Him and Rob do stuff together.
yeah, Neil Ski painted Rob's first race hall. He told me like
Yep.
the whole story.
Yeah.
I was like eating it up like a kid candy, dude. It was
Yeah.
he remembers it like it was yesterday. But
Yep.
yeah, so I convinced him. He hasn't painted halls in a long time, but I convinced him to paint this one, and it's over there now. And he's actually painting Kelly Ski.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, I've known them for I mean, he was in it when I started, and you know, I grew up obviously in Florida, so he was, you know, in that area, South Florida, I mean, an hour south of where I grew up.
He just does helmets now. And
Yep.
when I asked him, I'm like, come on, dude, please just paint the ski for me. He's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Like,
That's
you've done me
cool.
enough, I'll do it. And now
Yeah.
he called me and he's like, I'm not painting these ever again, dude. I hate this. Is so much work. So I feel kind of bad, but it should be pretty badass when it comes back.
That's cool.
So when you switched over to Sea-Doo, did you go to West Coast or who did you go to?
I went to 1997. I went to West Coast. Yeah, I signed with West Coast in 1997, and you know, they offered me a good program at that time. It was you know, I in 1997 I had an opportunity. So 1996 we had the last race of the season on the national tour was called the Jet Jam. I'm not sure if you know what that race was.
Oh yeah,
It's when they filled up the
I've
water.
got a couple boats before. Yep, I've got a couple boats before with the Jet Jam sticker on it. And then is that part of the indoor stuff too?
It was not indoor. It was in the riverbanks. They filled up to look like an indoor.
Okay.
So at that time in 1996, Jet Jam was in August. I remember like it was yesterday. I went to a TGI Fridays with Kawasaki. I went to a dinner with Polaris, and I went to a lunch with Sea-Doo, and had opportunities to go to all three manufacturers the next year in 1997. And I ended up signing with West Coast. 96 and not West Coast and Cowie were very similar on the money, pretty close. And the Polaris was actually more money, but the product was a pile of shit. So I ended up not going to ride those skis. Thankfully, I never went there. Dan Sherbondi tried to get me to go there a couple years, but glad I didn't make that decision because it was like another $20,000 a year more. And I ended up not going, and ended up going to West Coast. And then West Coast was the first year I rode for Sea-Doo. And then I rode Sea-Doo in 97 and again in 98 for Big Red, which the Big Red team ended up being a Big Red sponsor, but it was my own team that was just sponsored and one of the funding sponsors of Big Red, but it was actually Farthing, the first year of the Farthing Racing team. I mean, when I was a kid, I had my own team because obviously my dad was funding the deal before I rode for the manufacturers. But it was really the first year, 1998, that I had my own program that was a pro team.
So 99, where'd you go? Is this when you switched back to Yamaha? Or
I went back to
Yamaha.
Yamaha. Yeah, I went back to Yamaha because they offered me almost double the amount of money as what Sea-Doo offered me, and literally almost double the amount of salary. And they gave my dad an extravagant amount of cash as well to come take care of stuff. And so it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. I still to this day, I joke with Dave Bamdis and Steve Lawler from Riva and Yamaha. And I tell them that thankfully for them, it's what started the spending spree of what I understand to understand what it was like to have money and to realize that I wanted to live like that. And I needed to hustle to make sure I didn't make any less than I ever made.
So Yamaha offers you this deal after 2 years with Sea-Doo. Did they offer you the deal just because of your track, like how many podiums you had with Sea-Doo, or why they want you back so bad?
We won the 98 World Finals that year on the 800 class, won the Big Red Sea-Doo. I won the World Finals, and I was the sport national champion. I won the sport class as well as the 800 runabout class at the World Finals. So I won a national championship and a world championship that year in 98 on my own program. And it's, you know, they hired me because of that program.
And by sport, you're talking about sports spec?
No, it was not Sport Spec back then. It was Sport GP. So 800 motors, lay down Sea-Doo motors. In blasters, it was like mod 800 motors, power valves, Yamaha motors, and in the blasters. And then in Sea-Doo in 97, 98, it was Sea-Doo 800 motors, exactly like what you would have in a Sea-Doo 800 in an HX Hall.
Yeah, so I think the laydown is what I'm talking about. It's in the Bullet. I could be
That's
wrong,
correct.
but I think it's. I'll have to send you a picture of it. You'd know what it was.
Well, the laydown motor is the exact same motor as an 800. That's what they call a laydown motor.
Yeah, but the actual like crankcase almost looks like a 717 crankcase. Like it's got the whole front mag. That's a 717 almost. It's not an 800 bottom, and it has, but it has raves.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not
weird,
sure
dude.
what motor.
It's all
not
power
sure
to
what
the
that motor is.
gills.
So
Yeah, I'll have to send
you
you a
obviously
picture.
seen
You'll
the.
probably know.
So what we ran was the R motor in the. You have an R motor there of Kelly's, right? You said.
Yeah, I got one sitting on my bench. Yeah.
So that's the motor that we ran in 97, 98 in our runabouts and also our HXs.
Oh, you ran those in HXs.
Correct.
How fast was that, dude?
They were
That's
like
pretty gnarly.
low 60s. They weren't that great. I mean, it was low 60s, mid 60s.
951 swaps now.
Yeah, it was. Well, now we have HX with 1500 motors in them. They're set. They're 70.
You have
73 mile an hour.
You have one?
Yeah, I won the world championship on it, and then Devin won 2 world championships on it, and Talon raced it last year.
Man, I'd love to hear that thing. That thing probably sounds wicked.
Yeah, it's fast, 73 mile an hour.
That on an HX is fast, dude.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool
it's
ski.
probably scary fast.
It handles
so
it's amazing. It's a bullet hull.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
is it like a carbon composite, right?
Correct.
Okay. So when did you go to Kawasaki? How did the Kawasaki thing come up?
So rewind a little bit. 99, I went back to Yamaha. 2000, I was at Yamaha. I was at Riva 99 and 2000 at Riva Yamaha. Then 2001, I signed a deal with Yamaha to have my own team again. 2001, 2002, and I had my own semi truck and my own stuff in 2001 and 2002. And then in 2003, I had a contract on my desk and for Yamaha again for 2003, and it was in February. And I was getting ready to sign the contract, and I actually didn't sign the contract. And just because I just hadn't got around to signing it yet for 2003, and that was in February 2003, and I flew to Dallas Supercross, and I was walking through the pits of Dallas Supercross, and Bruce Sternstrom, which is the head of Kawasaki, was there, and he came up to me and talked to me and said, "Hey, what's your plan for this coming year?" And I said, "Oh, I have a Yamaha deal. I'm going to probably do my own team again, And he said, "Before you sign that deal, let me send you an offer sheet and see if it's something that you like." And the opportunity, the deal, the money and the contingencies and the stuff made sense. And 2003, I was at Kawasaki through 2003 to 2011.
How pissed was Yamaha, dude?
They probably were not the happiest with me.
When that ended, so you said till 2011. That's
yeah,
when
I actually left on good terms with Yamaha. They understood. They couldn't match the offer. They didn't have the equipment that year. 2003, I signed with Kawasaki, and I went undefeated except one event for the whole year. I won National Tour, World Finals, and King's Cup, all 3 in 1 year. And I won every single moto except one moto as well. It made sense. The product was good. The skis were good. The money was good. And the contingency was great.
What happened in 2011 then?
2011, I moved. 2010, I moved to Georgia. I was in Florida in 2010. I moved to buy my first dealership. And when I moved to Georgia, it was a half a mile from Yamaha's facility. And Scott Watkins at the time was the head of Yamaha Watercraft. And him and I happened to see each other. He came down to the dealership one day in 2011 and said, "I would really love to get you back at Yamaha. You started your career here. I'd like you to finish your career here."
That's awesome. That's what. So the dealership is kind of where I was going next. I'm going through the whole career of how Dustin Farthing became Dustin Farthing. So take me through what you did to get the dealership. Did the jet skis alone get you the dealership? What made you start?
Circle back to over the years, like when I started, I always had entrepreneurial, wanted to always do things, experience or, ideas or whatever you want to call it. Right. And, so in 1999, I opened a business called Trick Accessories, which was a car customizing business. And that was 1999 through 2002. And we did everything you can imagine for vehicles: lifts, lowering kits, wheels, tires, pretty much everything you think of. And then I operated that for a few years and then kind of got over that. And, it was doing decent. I made a little bit of money, here and there. It was a learning curve, first business experience. And I realized it was not really a scalable business model, right? It's not something that was going to change my life. And then at that same time, that was in 2002. And then in 2002 as well, when I still had those businesses, I opened tattoo studios. Opened a bunch of tattoo studios around Florida called Incredible Ink. And I went into the tattoo business and owned tattoo studios. And then in 2002, I went to Lake Havasu for the World Finals. And while I was in Lake Havasu, the hurricanes hit Florida. And I went and I was in Lake Havasu. The World Finals kind of ended in October every year. And I kind of really didn't have much going from October through kind of March. There was always a downtime in jet skiing. So I said, okay, what can I do? How do I make some money off this hurricane? I'm gonna go home. I'm making good money. How do I make some more money? So I decided I was going to, with no drywall, no framing, no construction experience whatsoever, except going to a job site with my dad to watch him work on a job site. I decided I was going to come back and start an entire construction company from my garage in 2002 in December. I came back, hurricanes had hit, and I decided to open a company called Star Drywall. And I made 1,000 yard signs and stuck them in the ground all over town that said drywall repair. And at that time, there was about 20,000 blue tarps on roofs from hurricane damage where the roofs had blown off and the drywall had leaked and messed up the drywall. And at that time, I started Star Drywall. So I didn't know anything about it. And got all this work, didn't know what to do. So I just went around to all these neighborhoods that were doing construction. And I just hired all the employees to come work for me and told them that I was this amazing drywall contractor that had thousands of jobs. And I could put them to work immediately and ask them what they were getting paid piecework. And I gave them $1 a sheet more per drywall. And I hired every one of the employees. That was in 2002. And I did a year of that remodel work in 2002. And then in 2002, at the end of 2002, after about a year, I realized that I hated dealing with customers coming into people's houses and them calling me all the time, bitching and yelling about my employees not taking their shoes off and all the shit, which, I get it. It's your house, right? I 100% get it. But also when you got guys that don't pay attention, don't listen, right? I can tell them to take their shoes off and they don't listen. So I said, okay, well, if I do new construction, I don't need to listen to anyone. So I had a friend that was in the lumber business, and I said, his name was Chris Monroe, and I called Chris and I said, hey, Chris, you sell the lumber to all these big builders, KB Homes, Hanover Homes, Mercedes Homes, Pulte, all the biggest builders in the world. Please send me a message with all the purchasing agents' numbers. I want to contact all these guys, and I want to go into new construction. And he said, dude, you don't know anything about new construction. And I said, yeah, but I know how to sell. So I got the purchasing agents' numbers and I contacted them all and I started taking them to lunch and I started sending them emails and text messages and gift cards and taking them out to lunch. And in 1 year's time, I did 1,000 houses in the first year. We were getting like 10 starts a day at one point. We were doing interior framing and drywall to start with. And then I went into painting when I realized that I could make the money on the painting contract. And then I went into doors, trims, and windows. So then I started making all that. Once I had the friendship and the partnership with all the purchasing agents, I said, hey, you don't need to hire anybody else. I'll take care of the whole package for you. Just give me all the work. So I ended up doing that. And we were at the busiest time, we were doing about 2,000 houses a year. And that went on from 2002 to 2010, which made me all the money that was able to go buy my first motorcycle dealership.
All right. So you have all this money, you have this pocket full of money from your hustling.
Yeah.
And you buy, is this when you start Mountain Motorsports?
Correct. And I had me and a friend of mine, Ryan Hardwick, I was getting ready to open up a motorcycle dealership in Florida. And Ryan Hardwick, friend of mine that we raced together, he said, hey man, instead of going to Florida, opening your own store in Florida, why don't you and I go buy a dealership in Atlanta together? And I said, man, I don't know about moving to Atlanta. And he said, let's just go check it out. Let's go see. And I came up here in August of 2010. And by September, I decided I was moving. I went to World Finals in second week of September. I got home the second week of October, and I moved the week before Halloween to Atlanta in a matter of 2 months period. And I bought a motorcycle dealership in Atlanta.
So how big was the first dealership?
The first dealership we bought was a multi-store that was been in business for a long time, and the guy had operated for a while. He'd been in business for like 30 years, but it was at one time it was a great dealership, successful. He was doing good things, but he got an older guy. He was a 70-year-old guy that just kind of got over it and was operating out of a piece of shit location. And we bought the franchises and bought the business, but we didn't buy the building. And I got up here and had the construction experience. So I went down half a mile down the street. I bought 2.5 acres and I built a 55,000 square foot new facility for that dealership and moved it a year later.
You had like every manufacturer for this dealership?
We had every single brand, every brand.
So you had
every single brand but Harley.
How was the first year? Was it like pretty rough? Since you
so the first year I bought the dealership, we were operating out of the existing business. We were doing about 700 units a year, give or take. And that was total everything: motorcycles, jet skis, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, everything, right? About 700 units. We moved into the new facility, and as soon as we moved in the new facility, built this amazing facility, had a giant grand opening, huge parties, built a race shop inside of it that you could look into when you're in the showroom, all glass. We went and did like over 1,600 units in the first year of being in business. Went from being about a $10 million a year gross sales business to a $35 million a year gross sales business in the first year of moving.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
So this led to more dealerships, or is that when you sold Mountain and moved to a...
No. So that led me to, my wife thought we were moving back to Florida because I told her we were going to spend a year in Georgia and open up a dealership, and then we were going to move back to Florida. And then we didn't move back to Florida. And I found another dealership that was struggling called Metro Cycles. And I had an opportunity to buy it, and everybody thought I was crazy, including my business partner. And it was a dealership that was losing about $50,000 a month, but I had the opportunity to buy the entire dealership for $500,000. And I went to the Ruby Tuesday, sat in the parking lot for about 7 hours across the street from it, watched the traffic that drove by, sat in my car all day long watching the traffic. And I said I was going to buy it. And the reps, Yamaha, Kawasaki, all the reps were telling me, don't buy it. You're going to put your original store in financial difficulty. And I said, don't worry, we're going to make money with it. And, so we bought it, remodeled the inside, and I bought the property and the business, and, took about a $6 million business and turned it into a $25 million business in the first year of being in that dealership. That led to the second store. That
one, after you bought it, changed to Mountain Motorsports as well.
Correct. Yeah. Every one of them became Mountain Motorsports. So then from there, we went to the next, they just all kind of snowballed, basically the same thing. And then a store called Atlanta Motor World, same thing. Guy was losing money. He was a high up person at Bell South and bought a motorcycle dealership for some reason and was losing money. I bought that dealership. It was losing about $75,000 a month. We turned that dealership around to doing over 1,000 units a year. To then I bought a dealership in Buford, a dealership in Kennesaw. I bought actually 2 in Buford to make 1. And then every one of those dealerships along the way, I built new facilities or remodeled the facilities along the way. And then built 6 Mountain Motorsports stores in Georgia in a 8-year time period. When I first moved to Georgia, we were, like I said, we were doing about $10 million in sales. And when I sold Mountain Motorsports, we were doing about $150 million in sales.
So you couldn't go anywhere and buy anything without Dustin Farthing.
You could not go. I went and intentionally bought every dealership around the city because it's controlled by a dealership framework agreement, which the manufacturers can't open any open points in Georgia. It's controlled by franchise laws. So I was smart enough to know that. So I bought every dealership within a 20-mile radius of the existing dealership, protected by the franchise laws. So you could not go within, about 80 miles of Atlanta to buy a motorcycle or jet ski without buying it from me.
Once you had all that established, is this when you sold Mountain? Because I know there's Speed Zone too, right?
Yep. So I went out, me and my partner both were going to sell, and he really wanted to sell more than I wanted to sell because he wasn't in the business. He didn't operate the business. So when we partnered up together, he was about a year and a half into the business. He kind of went to work for his family. His family's in the dinner and show business. So he went to work with his family, and he was still a partner 50-50 with me, but he was doing his own thing. So he was going to sell his percentage and just kind of invest more to buy more of his family business. And so we went out and got some investment companies to take it. And we went and got valuations from Goldman Sachs, Main Street Capital, and we got about an 8-time valuation of what the business was worth. So we had some valuations on what the business was going to be to sell. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around being partners with a investment firm like a Goldman Sachs, just because I kind of heard some horror stories about them taking control over the business, and I'm a controlling person, and so are they. So I felt it was like oil and water, probably wasn't going to work. So I ended up have another friend of mine that owned a store in Tennessee that wanted to come in to buy some more stores, but didn't have the capital. So I had the valuation, knew what it was worth. And then I said, okay, well, Main Street and Goldman Sachs, they're willing to put up the money for these stores. I'll just sell the stores myself, and I'll be the bank. I'll owner finance them back to these people, to the new buyers at a good interest rate, and I'll carry the notes and make all the money and stay home and collect my interest and own the real estate. And and then it led me. I had a non-compete for a certain distance, but it wasn't for Alabama. So I went an hour away to Alabama and opened Speed Zone, and then bought 2 stores, 2 stores that were good deals. Let's say very good deals on 2 stores that were struggling 35, 40-year dealerships that the family had left them, and they were kind of over operating them. The family had passed away, and they were left to kids. And so I ended up buying them in the real estate, and that's how Speed Zone started. And those stores together, they did about $4 million in the time that I bought them between the 2 dealerships. And when I sold them, they were doing about 35 million between the 2. And I operated them for 2 years, and we were putting such a strain on Mountain Motorsports and taking a lot of the Atlanta customers that Mountain Motorsports came and bought those stores as well.
Okay, and those stores were the same as Mountain? It was like every dealer?
Yeah, they were called Speed Zone, and they were every brand. And then I sold them to Mountain Motorsports for the same valuation that I sold the original business for.
So are you still in Mountain Motorsports, or you're completely out?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I'm not physically involved day to day, but I am the bank for a large business through about 2040 with a balloon note at the end of 2040. So I just like you. I'm sure you bought a house, right? You went to the bank, you borrowed the money. I'm the exact same thing. I'm the bank that collects the money on interest. I am the person that lent them the money for every dealership that they own. My 50% of it. Ryan owned his 50%, but my other 50% I own and carry the note for the company that bought all the my 50% of that business, Mountain Motorsports. But then the Speed Zone Motorsports, I owned 100% of those businesses. So when I sold those, I got 100% of that money, and then I sold those companies and did the same thing. I owner financed them and then own the real estate as well.
Mountain Motorsports has sponsored some pretty huge motocross champions, like Chad Reed, correct?
Yeah, so Chad Reed, I put that deal together to begin with. That was a Speed Zone deal that I helped him with first, and that's how he got hooked up with Mountain Motorsports. When I sold, Chad Reed was a Speed Zone rider. We did the deal, and I let him use my semi-truck for Supercross in 2018. And then when I sold the business in 2020, they'd kept going with Chad, helping him out from then on. So yeah, I started that deal with Chad Reed in 2018.
I know his kids have all the livery with Mountain Motorsports and stuff on it. I don't know if they still do, because I know.
He helped the Mountain Motorsports guys help him out with bikes and stuff to use and stuff.
Yeah, because he's over at Club MX now, which I didn't see coming, but he is.
Yeah.
All right. So this whole time you're owning these dealerships, you're still racing, and at this point you're racing for. Well, I guess you would have been racing for Kawasaki for some of it, and now you're back with Yamaha.
I was racing for Kawasaki for a year of it, and then I was back at Yamaha from 2011 on, which the time I owned the dealerships.
So at that point, when you're racing for Yamaha, are you still getting somewhat paid by Yamaha to race, or that's out the window? It's not the 90s anymore.
No, I've never raced a jet ski where I didn't get paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that. I just didn't know. I'm not too familiar with P1, so I don't know what comes from like championships or anything else. I don't know if there's cash prizes for first, second, third.
There's a little bit of prize money. There's a little bit of prize money, but the money still comes from all the sponsors, right? In 2009, I signed a deal with Monster, and in 2009, I became a Monster Energy rider, which a lot of my salary came from Monster, and then the rest of my salary came from Yamaha in 2011. 2009, 2010, it was Monster Energy and Kawasaki, my salary, and then obviously I have outside sponsors. At the time I was like Fox or Thor and Slippery and different, right? Everybody's over the years has paid me, whatever manufacturers and sponsors, wetsuit sponsors, helmet, goggles, every one of those people's paid me something, whether it be a small amount or a large amount. And, so 2010, 9-10, I was with Kawasaki. Then 2011, I went to Yamaha and Monster Energy Yamaha, and my salary came from Monster Energy Yamaha at that point. And, which still to this day is who pays us.
Yeah, because I know Monster. I think in a previous podcast that I watched with you or something, Monster said you're an athlete for life. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually took 1 year of racing off in my entire career. I took 2017 off, right? I was so busy with the dealerships, and I sold Mountain Motorsports. And I was really living
balling
on the
out.
high.
You're just balling out, dude.
So I went to Europe and spent 45 days traveling Europe with my family. I rented a 130-foot boat. We did the Greek islands and did a lot of cool stuff, and spent 45 days in Europe with my kids. I wanted to do that since they were little kids, but they were to the point where, at that point in 2017, they were old enough to enjoy it, right? Devin was he was 14 at that time, 13, 14, and Talon would have been 11 or 12. So I was able to go do that, and so I took a year off racing. And at that time, I had a Monster contract that I needed to fulfill, and I tried to give the money back to them. I offered to give the money back to them, and they wouldn't take it. And they told me that I do enough for them in marketing, social media, and events through the dealership and stuff, and that I didn't need to give it back to them. So they paid me for a year that I didn't even race. So I think the statement that I'm a Monster Energy for athletes probably pretty close.
Yeah, I watched a podcast on Gypsy Tales. I think you and I talked about Gypsy Tales on the phone before, but I watched it with it wasn't like the owner, but it was like
Mitch Covington.
Dude, that company seems like such a great company to work for. They stand behind their athletes no matter what. He was talking about, he was talking about like Tiger Woods, and everybody's dropping them, and he's like, no, we don't just drop people because they have a bad moment. Like, humans are humans. Then he talked about how like, they sponsored like a horse, just crazy stuff, dude.
Yeah. So they talked about like every sponsor, right? Except like 3 sponsors at that time when Tiger Woods got caught in all that, cheating scandal and driving, under Ambien and everything else. Right. And everybody wanted to drop him. And Monster said, we're not going to drop him. We're going to double down, and we're going to support him. And Monster is that company, man. I can't, trust me, in my lifetime, there's been a lot of times where they probably would question whether they wanted to be partners with me at times where it's been difficult times, and they never wavered, man. I'll give it to them. They never questioned any single thing, and it's the most unbelievable company and family I've ever been a part of.
It's kind of wild to think that like all these motorsports, especially Supercross, like Supercross is huge, dude. I feel like it's the biggest it's ever been. Except for like maybe when RC and Stewart were riding, right? And then you had like kind of this lull, and now everybody and their mother is into Supercross. And it's just insane to think that a drink company is responsible for like so much motorsports in general, like Supercross, freestyle, snowmobile racing, jet ski racing, cars, drifting, like Ken Block, everything.
Yeah, it kind of started right in the, McGrath kind of brought that in when he brought in the Bud Light deal. And
I remember that.
Yeah, he kind of brought in really the first outside sponsor. I don't know if you remember, but he brought in it was Bud Light and 1-800-COLLECT.
I remember the 1-800-COLLECT helmet, and I remember like it was yesterday as a kid watching Supercross on TV. He had the Yamaha, which is like the Bud Light on both radiator shrouds, like
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, so he brought in, a lot of the outside sponsors to start with, right? Which then led into the energy drink companies, right? So circle back a little bit, right? In 1998, I actually rode for a company that was called Hanson's Beverage, which Hanson Beverage actually owns Monster Energy, right? That is who Monster bought. So Hanson Beverage was a company that was an energy drink company that was a struggling business that was going bankrupt. And Rodney Sachs and Hilton are the two owners of Monster Energy. They were the attorneys for Hanson Beverage. They bought Hanson Beverage before it was Monster Energy. Didn't create Monster Energy. They created the Claw. They hired a company to create the Monster Claw. They created the Claw, and then a year later, they decided to take that Claw and make it Monster Energy under the Hanson Beverage Company.
So was the formula always there, or did they start this from scratch?
No, I think that a lot of the formula was there. They've changed up a lot of things since then over the years, but the Hanson Beverage, was a good product, right? That I think they had the right things, but I think it was the wrong people involved. And, it's the catalyst, right, that we talk about, right? You and I could be standing at a door, right? Going, hey, which one of us is going to buy this motorcycle dealership? And you're like, I don't know, man. It doesn't look right. And I'm not really sure. And this and that, or, hiring the right people to get involved. And, it's, and those guys were the guys that ran with it, right? And built this thing that was a huge company. So in 1998, I rode for Hanson. And then in 99 and 2000, I rode for Red Bull. I was a Red Bull athlete for 2 years. And then in 2001, 2002, I was a Pepsi athlete for Pepsi.
I didn't know Pepsi was in motorsports.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures. It was Pepsi Yamaha. They were one of our title sponsors in 2002. Remember when I said I left Riva Yamaha in 2000 was my last year with them, and I started my own team in 2001. Pepsi came on as one of the title sponsors for that program.
So you have Pepsi logos on your skis?
Yep, absolutely. The whole sides. So like I was riding Yamaha GPRs, and the Yamaha GPR, like the whole side of the foot, like where the tray and the mats are. That whole entire side was Pepsi logo and Pepsi.
Yeah, you guys send me a picture of that so I can put it in here. I have not seen it.
Yeah, I will for sure. Yeah, so so I kind of there's been a lot of things along the way, right? That kind of it wasn't like Monster was my first negotiating with these guys, right? And doing that, I kind of since 92, 93, my dad kind of did my stuff. But by 94, I was handling all my own contracts and my own resumes and all my own stuff. I was started going to the Cincinnati Motorcycle Show. Now it's, I think, I don't even know where it's at. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly where PRI show or whatever it is, different things, right? But
that's in Vegas, no?
No, that one I think is in Indy. It's in Indy.
Oh, you're right. PRI is in Indy.
But it used to be called the Motorcycle Show, and the time you would go, there'd be 3,000, 4,000 vendors, right? And you would spend 4 days walking around these shows, and I'd pass out 1,000 or 1,500 resumes in a 4-day period.
Just to try to sell yourself.
That's it, man. That's how I signed IHRA. That's how I signed Oakley. That's how I signed PJ1 Oils. I signed all those companies at 15 years old, walking around the show, and couldn't even drive myself to the show.
That's wild, dude. That's wild.
So that's why it kind of comes back to what we talk about. I've never really been one of these guys that you don't need to wake up. Nobody needs to wake up and tell me to get my ass moving in the daytime.
Let's get a little bit into your family. So you have two sons.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
22 and 19.
Okay. So when did they get started and take after their dad's kind of passion for jet skis? And did it start with jet skis, or were they into something first?
They rode a little bit of dirt bikes just for fun, but I really, to be honest with you, I in those times when they were young, right, that they probably could have been really good on motocross bikes. I was so busy with the dealerships, man, that between my racing and, my racing and the dealerships, I really didn't have time to do all the motocross, right? I was, I take, I don't know, I was racing 10 weekends a year for my own racing at that time, right? And I was making good money, so I wasn't going to give that up. And then, and I was obviously a lot younger, right? And what I know today, I'm a lot more of a dad than I am, the other side, where when I was younger, for one, when I was young, I didn't even think I was going to have kids. For one, I didn't think I was going to be married. I thought I was 14, 15 years old, and they're paying me the kind of money they're going to pay me. And I get to travel around to the United States and go to live on a beach and go to bikini contests and do all kinds of cool shit. I didn't think I was going to be married, let alone, have kids or any of the stuff. Right. So life kind of changes as you go. And, at that point, I didn't really have a lot of time to spend with my kids, right? Like, as far as I spent time with them, I was at every basketball game, soccer game. I've never missed anything that they did. But I wasn't going to like the track. Like, to be a dirt bike dad, you got to be at the track 5 days a week, right? Or have a track and all that stuff. And my kids really weren't into that part of it. They weren't like overly obsessed. Like, when I would ask them to go ride, they would go ride, but they never asked me to go ride, right? So I was just like, yeah, whatever, dude. They're not, not going to be into it. And then I got my oldest son into jet skis. There happened to be a local jet ski race here in Ackworth, Georgia, where I live. Mike Young had a race, and Devin was 8 years old. It was before they let 8-year-olds race. Devin was 8 years old, and Mike Young let us do a jet ski race that weekend together in a class with just him and I. And he let us race together.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you whoop your ass or what?
Yeah. So I let him win, just like I still let him win today when he raced. But we got to race together, and then we did the same thing the next year. And then by the time he got to 10 years old, they were allowing 10-year-olds to race, right? So he started riding super jets and racing, and kind of got into it. And my youngest one never rode a jet ski. I mean, not for fun, never drove a jet ski by himself until he was 16 years old.
Why not? He was scared of it, or what was the reason?
He's just one of those kids, man. He liked basketball, football, soccer, and he played those things. And he's the type of kid. He's like me. He's a hard-headed little shit. And if you would talk him into doing it, he will not do it just because you're trying to talk him into it. So I never tried to talk him into it. And finally, one weekend we were out for like Memorial Day or something, and I offered him this 100 times before, but finally, by the time he was 16, I said, "Hey, if you go ride the jet ski by yourself, I'll give you $100." And he said, "Okay." And that was in September of when he was 16. We went to Havasu 2 weeks later. He rode the entire time at Body Beach for fun. That 2 weeks we were there, he raced slalom class. And then a month later, we went to Naples to the pro watercross. He raced amateur sport spec. He won the amateur class, and he's been riding ever since.
I know Devin, you guys were racing together. Devin's really good.
Yeah, Devin, and talent, to be honest with you, I tell this to Devin all the time, and Devin will argue with me. And as soon as he watches this, he'll argue again because he loves to argue. We always said he was going to be an attorney because he thinks he debates every single thing. But talent, actually, naturally given talent, he's a more talented kid than Devin or I. Devin has more drive than I. Like, he's like me. Like he will he would rather die than let you say that you're better than him at something.
I watched Talon because Talon does the sports spec, right?
Correct.
Because I watched Talon at what was it? Last year in Alabama, the first Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was. Birmingham, right?
Guntersville.
Wherever it was. Guntersville, that's what it was.
Yep.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
He was ripping, dude.
Yeah, he did good. Yeah, him and Devin got first and second or first and third or something like that. Yeah, so I mean, dude, he can. I mean, if he whole shots Devin have a hard time getting around him. I mean, Devin is unbelievable on a pro ski, right? Like, he rides. Dude,
Devin on a stand up. I watched Devin on a stand up from like the dock. Yeah. I don't know how, like, I know other people, like, it's obviously not just Devin, like, their top riders like Devin can do what they can do on a stand up.
Of course.
Dude, that kid, well, he's not a kid, but that guy
Yeah.
ripping around buoys
Yeah.
on a stand-up, I'm just watching it like, how are these guys even doing? It was insane, dude. And he was like at least 8 halls in front of the second place.
The crazy thing is it's a little bit different, right? Where my kids are both in college, right? So they don't have the time to practice. Like Devin has not been on a jet ski since Thailand. And he'll go to the first race. Actually, he is on a jet ski today. He's spending a week in Havasu testing with Bullet this week on the new stand-ups. So he will ride for this week. But other than that, he'll ride 1 week from December till the first race. But if Devin was a kid like back in the day where it was a full-time job and then he rode every single day and trained and rode and practiced, I mean, he has unbelievable. Both of them have like God-given talent for sure.
Yeah, I think some of that, I just feel like most of that stuff that, like your interests or whatever, I think from DNA, I know it sounds weird, but I feel like it trickles down, dude. So like if dad could do it, or even like grandpa could do it, I feel like it's coming down, and some of those is just like my son gets on a dirt bike and it looks like he came out of the womb on a dirt bike, dude. It's wild. Like I could never do anything he could do. He started riding at 2.5, and it blows my mind.
It's basically the same. Like my dad was a flat track motorcycle racer and then a drag racer.
Oh, that's pretty cool. How long did he do that?
What's that?
How long did he flat track race?
He raced all the way through his like teenage years until I think he had me, and then he couldn't afford to do it anymore because he had me.
That'd be pretty cool to see flat track. I haven't seen flat track in person, but
I'll send you some pictures. He set some records and stuff back in the day. He was pretty fast. I mean, obviously this is 50 years ago, or whatever, but yeah, I mean, back in the day he was good, especially flat track and stuff was big back, speedway stuff up in Illinois, Indiana and stuff back then.
Especially over in like Joliet.
Exactly. So
oval. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he was big into, that stuff.
They still do a lot of that. I'm sure they do it by us, but they do tons of stuff on the dirt track by Joliet. I'm like 40 minutes from it. So I'm sure he did a couple there.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that things like, so that motorsports has kind of been our blood, right? Like we've kind of always done that. That's what we grew up around. And, it's what I was raised, right? Some kids are raised, their dads are into football or baseball or whatever else. My dad was into anything with an engine. So it was kind of where Dustin kind of grew up on a dirt bike. I moved to Florida and I was 3 years old and my dad bought me a 3-wheeler at 3 years old to ride a 50cc Suzuki at 3 years old.
He just bought you that back, didn't he? Like, or one like it?
He bought me
like a super nice like Resto one, didn't he?
2 of them. Yeah. He got me the Suzuki first, and then he got me the next bike I had, which I remember like it was yesterday. I was for 1984 Christmas. I came out to the Christmas tree and there was a 1984 Yamaha Trizinger 3-wheeler when I was so I would have been 5 years old. And then about maybe 3 years ago, he bought me the exact same replica bike of one of those. He found it from a guy somewhere up north that was completely restored, and he bought it for me. It's in my shop today.
I saw a picture of it in your shop. It was like some video that I had watched on your YouTube or something. And I saw it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable guy, man. He would give you the shirt off his back and do anything for you. I'm sure you and I have talked about it a lot of times, and he's a lot nicer guy than I am. That's for sure. He's would do anything for you. He's probably why he gave up his racing career to let me have a racing career.
Yep. Yeah. Kelly Mayan that I build skis for, I've already told you, but he's got so many stories of your dad, like kind of coaching him. And when he gets discouraged, he would say something nice to him, or he would tell him kind of tuning tips. So I've heard really nice things about your dad. That's for sure.
Yeah. He's a great dude. My dad's a simple, easy guy, man. We've been very successful in life, right? And he'll buy his shorts at Walmart and has only wears shirts that are free from sponsors. And he's a very chill guy. And I will, not going to lie, though, he went from the chill guy to when he realized that he could fly private on an airplane with me. And then he had to fly a couple times by somewhere he was going and he had to do something. He went from the guy that buys clothes at Walmart to realize he wait in a security line for 3 hours. And then he calls me one time and he's like, man, this is shit right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine that once you fly private a couple of times, you're kind of just if you
But
can
it's
do
so
it,
funny
you're
because
over.
normal, like you could hear that from normally somebody else, right? But like my dad's like the most, like I'm not shitting you. My dad buys his shorts at Walmart. Like he like is the most laid back guy. But like obviously once you realize one little thing, he's like, man, this is not. I want to go back the other way.
Time's money, dude. You
I
got time
know,
to stand at the airport for 4
I know,
hours.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, he's got nothing but time because he's retired, so he's got nothing but time. He could stand there all day.
Well, speaking of retiring, so when did you retire from racing in general? Like, I'm sure you still ride for fun, whatever. I don't know if you plan on racing at all this year, but your last year with Yamaha was what year?
Well, I still actually am contracted to race. I race some international stuff. I raced Thailand last year. Well, I actually didn't race Thailand. I got ejected over the handlebars and slung about 4 miles because it ripped. We run carbon fiber hulls and ride plates and everything, and it broke a ride plate and sent me over the handlebars about 100 mile an hour. And so I went to Thailand to race, but yeah, I only race like select international races. My contract with Monster and Yamaha is for like 2 or 3 races a year. My last year in P1 was in 2024. I won 23 and 24. Yeah, I won the championship back to back both of those years and went undefeated for the weekends in the last year.
So overall, through your whole PWC racing career, how many titles do you have?
Total professional, not counting novice. Like a lot of these guys, you'll hear, oh, they got 30 titles.
No. Throw them all in. Throw them all in, then break
all?
it out into pro. So just
even,
give me all.
I couldn't even tell you all. I wouldn't even be able to tell you all. I wouldn't even have the slightest guess to even tell you because I haven't kept track of it, but I would say probably 50 titles, probably give or take. And
so how about pro?
27 professional titles.
And you turned pro what year?
1995.
So from 95 to 2024, you have 27?
27 titles.
I don't know, man. I feel like that makes you, nobody's even close to you, I don't think.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, you'll hear some guys that, oh, I won this and won that, but then they're mediocre half-ass classes that I don't consider to be when I consider a professional class means pro ski, pro runabout, pro, whatever it is, whatever the best, pro 800 back in the day, right? Whatever class was the premier classes, right? There was 4 or 5 premier classes every single year, whether it be pro women's sit down, pro ski, pro 800, pro 1200, pro freestyle, whatever those premier classes are, right? Those are the titles that I consider to be legit, like pro titles, right? You can go to a regional series and win a regional. And when I say 27 titles, that's not me winning Region 7 professional title in Region 7. That is IHRA national tour, a world finals, a King's Cup, a Guadalupe, 500-mile race, a Long Beach Catalina, something like that.
So your sons are both racing this year, or just Devin, or Talon and Devin?
My oldest son is racing pro ski and pro runabout endurance, and Talon races pro sports spec, and then he will also ride the runabout GP3 class, which is the Jet Blaster class and everything at World Finals. He won't ride it on tour, but he'll ride it at Havasu for Yamaha.
Dude, you should have told me I have a Jet Blaster ready to go, man.
Do you?
Yeah. Remember the one that looks like the Star Yamaha one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Bohet built that.
Why aren't you racing it?
I got a baby coming in May.
Dude, bring the baby with you.
No way, bro. I don't know. I just feel like with the 2 kids already, and then the baby is just too much. So I'm gonna build skis this year.
What about the first 2 races before the baby gets here?
So here's the thing,
bro. I feel like this interview, you're getting soft as the interview goes on.
Hold on.
I thought you were supposed to be like this, like manly dude.
No. I'm the builder. I'm your dad. I'm your dad's part.
But you got my 800. You got my 800 ready for me so I can come race that class and make sure that people remember who can ride the 800 class.
Yeah, the tan one. I told you, it's all yours.
I'm ready.
Yours. It's ready to go.
But so I would like for that class, when we get to that class, I know there's been a lot of talk about people that are really good on 800s. And I know there's been some prize money that they put together, right? But I would like every racer that wants to enter that class, let's increase the pot. Let's every racer put in like an extra $500 for the overall pot. And let's really, race for a really big prize.
That'd be awesome.
Let's get the rest of the racers on board. And, it's really, and I mean, they got the advantage because when's the last time I was on an 800 class ski? It's been 1998.
You and I both know it doesn't matter. We both know that doesn't matter. And that muscle memory, dude, comes back. It's like riding.
No, man, that's not how we build this purse up, bro. You got to build it the other way. That everybody has the chance to take my money.
Well,
and
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. You're gonna have to get around Bowhat. So
I know,
dude.
He can't even. His old ass can't even. Dude, I talk to him on team calls on FaceTime all the time, and he doesn't even have pictures of himself on the wall. He has to have pictures of his wife hanging in the background.
Yeah, I know. Brad's just.
I can't wait till he hears this because I was busting his balls the other day. I said, "Hey, man, who are those pictures behind you?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my wife." And I was like, "Oh, you got to have your wife, and you can't even have your own pictures hanging in your office."
No, she's the pretty face of the company. It's not.
But I don't even think that's his office. I think she let him use her office.
Yeah, he does. He carries her purse and stuff too. It's wild. You should see.
I know. I got that. I told her from now on that her and I have to stay on each other's good side, always moving forward, because I can only have one pissed off woman at a time at me, and my wife usually is pissed off at me at something. So I got to keep Jamie's got to be on my good side, or Nicole, one of the two. I can only have one of them yelling at me at a time.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think maybe just if they both look mad, just walk away.
I'm just gonna put my headphones in.
Yeah, put your headphones in, put your hood up, and just kind of sail off. I'm good at
tuning people out.
There you go. I have that Jet Blaster because Brad asked me to build an everybody criticizes when I call it an XPL hull. But the 97 XP, I call it an XPL hull because it's the exact same thing, whether it has a 787 or 951 in it. Hull's the same. So I built Brad the XPL 97. And the trade-off was I build that. He gives me the Jet Blaster, which has like 10 hours on it. And I was going to race that. But honestly, dude, I just love 800 so much. I don't really know if I have any interest in it. So it's going to be at the first tour stop with a dude named Jason Seeley riding it.
And okay. So somebody is riding it.
Yeah, it'll be there.
Okay, cool. See it. Yeah, I saw his name on the entry form.
Yep. He was originally going to go with a Spark. And Brad and I both were kind of like, Spark's not going to cut it, dude. You got to go to a Yamaha.
That's awesome. And Brad's son races that class too, right?
Brad's son is really good at that.
That's what I heard. Yeah,
really good.
That's awesome.
And then Brad's son's going to ride one of my 800s this year too.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to loan. I have two of them. I have a green one and I have a tan one. I'm going to give him the green one, and then tan one's all yours.
I'm down. We'll do it in Virginia or Harbor Beach or somewhere cool. We'll put it together.
I'm going to take it for both.
I'm going to come to Racine. I'm coming to Harbor Beach.
You're coming to our race at Racine?
Yeah, because I'm going to be up there for the Sheboygan race the week after.
Why aren't you racing it at Racine?
Maybe I will. Dude, if it's rough, I'm signed 100%.
Listen, if you're here, you can take it for whatever race you want.
I like it.
I have my hands full. I'm going to go to the first race because it's like the closest to me, but like Harbor Beach is 6 hours from me. So that's a haul.
Yeah.
And then Virginia, I think I'm going to fly out to Virginia and just to be there because I think it'll be a badass race.
Right.
But like Racine probably won't be able to do it. So if you want it for Racine and you want it for Harbor Beach and you want it for Virginia, take it, dude. It's all yours. It's going to do nothing but sit in my garage this year and collect dust.
Awesome.
So pretty much brings me to my other point is that you retire from racing.
Yep.
And then your kids are still gung-ho in racing.
Yep.
And you're just sitting around with nothing to do because you're a bummer now, right? And then you decide, you know what? I'm going to revamp the entire sport. I'm going to get with the IHRA, who bought out some type of watercraft racing. I'll have you tell us, because I don't want to misspeak. Yep. And now you're the new face of a totally revamped watercross racing, or whatever we want to call it, PWC racing.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives me, I wasn't there for the 90s because I was a baby, but it kind of gives me, like, everything I read about the 90s, it gives me the 90s vibes. So can you walk everybody that's watching through some of that, and like what you plan to do, how it started, how the IHRA became to be involved, because they're funny car racing and drag strips and everything else. So it might be weird to some people. So just kind of give us a down low, since you know the most about it.
Yep, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So give you the complete version, right? And we can figure out how it goes, so everybody kind of understands this thing that happens. So, I've always seen like a hole in the industry and about the way the sport should go. So in 2000 to 2003, approximately, I owned a jet ski series called the Hot Water Tour. I used to promote races back then. It was one of the businesses, many businesses that I owned, been part of. So I owned a series called the Hot Water Tour. And, then I ended up selling that business because I couldn't put enough time into it. I ended up selling it to another guy in Florida that wanted to do it. He was gung-ho. After 3 years, I built it up. It was super successful. We were making good money. We had lots of sponsors. We had all the manufacturers. We had basically what we have today. We have, the last race I promoted was in St. Petersburg. It's actually funny. The last race I promoted was St. Petersburg, and the first race back I'm promoting is St. Petersburg. And the last race I promoted had 270 racers at it, and over 400 entries. So that
real quick before we buzz past that part, tell us how many racers so far are entered in this first race.
So we have 100, and as of today, we have 143 racers.
Wild, dude.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. I just wanted to interject that in there just for comparison. So
we have 143 racers, and we've never even put on a race yet. And it just shows that with the right promotion, the right goals, the right people, the right sponsors, everything that falls in place, right? You can build any single thing. And people, once again, just like the dealerships, people told me I was crazy. What are you doing? You can't do this. It's not going to work. Da, 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 da. I've heard it all a million times before. And it's honestly, I think it's really one of the things that I enjoy the most. It's when people tell me I can't do it, because then I just really want to do it just to prove them wrong. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's good for the sport right now, because people are get to benefit off of, me being passionate about building something cool. So we ended up, how it kind of started is we ended up going to World Finals last year for the Havasu World Finals. We were talking with IHRA about possibly partnering with them about putting on a series with IHRA. And we went round and round a little bit. We went some negotiations on how to make that work. Me and Thomas Covington, which is Mitch Covington's son, the guy you were talking about for Monster, we talked about it, and he knows nothing about watercraft, but he likes racing and wanted to, do something. So I said to him, hey, let's start a watercraft series. And at the time he was working for P1. And I said to him, well, let's go start our own series. We don't even need IHRA or anybody else. Let's start a whole series. So we went and decided we were going to start our entire own series. And then the IHRA came about and bought the Powerboat series. So I said, well, why don't we just go to them and get them to get involved with this thing? We'll build this whole thing. It'll be our program, our deal, and we'll get IHRA to be involved. So, I built a business model and went to Thomas, and Thomas agreed, liked it. And we went to IHRA and presented it, had a couple of Zoom calls, and sold the idea. And that was in December, right at the end of when I got back from Thailand, and right around maybe the week after Christmas. And a week later, the whole thing started with the IHRA.
Your first stop is St. Pete.
Correct. Yep.
And then what's your other stops?
So our goal was, the biggest thing is what we knew with watercraft racing is what everybody has always known, right? Is how do we get fans there? How do we get sponsors? How do we build a series that can carry itself without the money of the entry fees, right? Because it's irrelevant. I'm not saying that you don't need the entry fees, right? Because it's one of the things, but you can't build a business that's dependent only on the racers. You got to build a business that's dependent on the sponsors. The sponsors have to fund the series. So that's always been my thing, is selling, marketing, sponsorships. So we went out and we built a business model that was, we could create an entire race series, and we need the racers for the show, right? But if 5 racers showed up, we had the funds to be able to do it. So we built the race model, and we knew that if we built an unbelievable event, that all the racers would show up and they would come. So it kind of started off of that. So I said, well, how do we get racers to come there? How do we get a large television? How do we get it on live streaming? How do we get it on companies like Hulu and other avenues? How do we do that? Well, let's partner up with the powerboat side. So we partnered up with the powerboat side, and they needed time to fill the time slots in between races. There'll be 30 minutes downtime between when the powerboats are racing. That watercraft will fill in the spots. So there's a 20, 30-minute powerboat race, and then a 30-minute PWC race. 20 or 30-minute powerboat race, and then a 30-minute PWC race throughout the day, right? So it keeps the fan interested, keeps the people moving, keeps the live stream going. So we built that business model and sold it that way, which then's how we got the sponsors to be able to go build the business model. And the PWC events go to St. Petersburg, then we go to New Orleans to Lake of the Ozarks to Wisconsin to Virginia, and then we have the final round in Lake Havasu for the IHRA World Cup.
So the filming, the way that they're filming the powerboats, I guess is done, it has to be through drone. It's not through like a helicopter, right?
So it's helicopters. It's 2 helicopters, several drones, 8 boats filming with cameras on 8 boats, and then 2 on the pier.
So they're going to film the same way PWC?
Correct.
Dude, I've seen the footage. I'll try to like get some off the internet and kind of section in here. But the footage that they're doing for powerboat racing is, in my opinion, identical to the way that they film Supercross. And then you see Supercross on TV. Like, it's not just from shore to where you're kind of like, well, who's in first? And then, first comes around, you're like, oh, okay. And then you count off second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. Yeah. It is on the rider, buoy to buoy, like actually entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Well, not only that, are we going to have, it's going to be live, right? And we're going to have, they have between 2 to 4 cameras that'll be POV on the watercraft that'll be live. So you're going to be watching video live from one of our skis.
Well, they used to do that back in the day. Like,
correct.
I remember watching something, because you can go on YouTube.
But it wasn't live. It wasn't live. It was just showing back.
It wasn't live, but you can go on YouTube and type in like 99 World Finals or whatever, and they'll have like McCluggage or Bonacci or somebody with like this big, huge camera in the front, because obviously technology wasn't where it is now. Yeah. And man, to have it live, switch camera to camera.
Yeah, it was mounted. It was mounted in the ski back in the day, and then it had like a long, skinny tube with the eye on it. It was called a fisheye lens, and yeah, I never ran them. I was always, it's crazy. I'm not a really like a guy like this, but I'm very superstitious in racing, and I would never run the cameras. They always wanted me to run the cameras and stuff. And for example, I would have, I rode for all the manufacturers like Slippery, Jet Pilot, or whatever. And if I won a moto, I wouldn't change my wetsuit for the weekend, and I wouldn't run the camera because I didn't want the camera on there. I was always superstitious, so I never ran the camera in my 20 years. And then in the last 5 years, I obviously started running cameras and stuff, because we started doing our own YouTube and videos and all that stuff. We started realizing that's where the market was going.
It's funny, dude, because I'm kind of the same way. Kelly came over to my house and we were testing when it was like snowing out, right?
Yeah.
And he left this wetsuit at my house that I don't even know how. It's got to be from the 90s, but it's a Yamaha wetsuit, right?
A
And
lot of
I
piss,
don't
a lot of
even
piss in that wetsuit.
Probably, dude. But I didn't want to buy another wetsuit just because like all the funds and stuff I have for the race builds and everything are so expensive. I'm like, I'm not buying a $200 wetsuit or however much it is to go race a couple times a year, right?
Yeah.
So I wore this Yamaha wetsuit. Dude, it's the best I've ever ridden.
Yeah.
Ever. In this Yamaha. I swear to God, I won't even buy another wetsuit, dude. I'll just rock this Yamaha on my Sea-Doo forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. When you get that feeling, man, and you feel good, you look good, you ride good.
Well, I wouldn't say it looks good because like all the letters are like wrinkly and crinkling off of it, but
yeah, but it looks good. It looks good to you.
I'm leaving it. Hey, it looks good flying past. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, when you're in the front, anything looks good.
Well, I was in the front for a little bit, and then I had a water line blow off. So, you know,
that sounds like you need to talk to your mechanic.
No, you know what it is that the mechanic, the asshole mechanic that works on all my shit, is focused on other people's boats and not my boat. You know?
Right. So that's usually what happens.
What's the saying? Yeah, the saying is the mechanic is always the one with the broken car, right?
Always.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
So, what sponsors so far are involved with this new series?
So, for the IHRA Watercraft Series?
Yeah.
So we have Monster Energy as a title sponsor, Progressive Insurance, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Sea-Doo. We have Riva. We have Fast Power Sports. We have Jet Trim. We have Bullet Racing. We have Pro Watercraft. We have AP Designs. We have Jet Pilot. We have the list goes on, and Hot Products. I mean, the list is long, man. Really, really long.
Do you want to talk a little bit about like how the payouts work? Because before you came along and started doing this, there was no payouts. There was plexiglass trophies, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it seems like the thing is like you and I talked about it already, and you had seen the post about it. But I'm building an 1100 from my own dime, and I'm giving it to Great Lakes. So then Great Lakes is going to raffle that off. Instead of Great Lakes keeping anything for, operating or whatever, they're taking all of the money and they're putting it into 800 pot. Because in my opinion, and you've been around it way longer than me. In my opinion, I know how much I work on these things to get them as best as I can get them. All these guys are working on these things, ridiculous amount of hours, money, the parts you can't find anymore, whatever. So they're going to have a huge pot for 800, which I think is awesome. But then when you look at your pot, I mean, you're giving out money to almost every class. Can you take us through some of that?
Yeah. So we're giving away just shy of 40,000 a weekend. And, every class gets something, it's always typical, right? You can't, no matter what I do, it would please somebody something, right? No junior rider has ever got paid ever in watercraft history. And even I even paid money to junior class, sports spec, runabout. I mean, everybody got something. I gave, even if it's a small amount, everybody can make $500,000 and everybody at least gets something right back out of the classes. And obviously the key classes, are making more, which are premier classes that the manufacturers and companies like Monster and people are involved in, and Progressive and stuff are stepping up to help make all that possible. And those are, to win pro ski or pro runabout, right? It's almost I think $6,500 or $6,200 to win. And then it goes 3,000 down, from there. So, I mean, those are payouts of what, even the best times for prize money were. I mean, maybe back in, the early days maybe the World Finals back early 90s, mid 90s, I was making more than that. We might've made 15,000 for prize money back then from, the World Finals. But the last few years, you can win a pro ski world championship at World Finals over the last couple of years and you got $0.
Right. And that's the key takeaway in my opinion. Because for P1, correct me if I'm wrong, it was still just trophies and a champagne bottle.
They gave a small amount. It was like about $1,000. So they gave away a small amount, but I will say that's one of the things that they did. All right, they did give a little bit of money away. The management was a little questionable, but they actually did give a little bit of cash away.
Okay. Yeah, but like you said, for like the other classes, because
Nothing,
for the,
and that was for two
no.
classes only. Actually, let me take that back. It wasn't even for 2 classes. It was that for pro class, and then at the end of the year, they paid an overall for the amateur class $1,000 overall for the whole season.
Right. This is per event.
Correct. This is per event. Yeah, we pay $6,200 a weekend to win.
Which is that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a ton of money. It's not a little bit of money, right?
It's not. You know, I'm not saying it's not life. You're not quitting your job, right, to go do it, right? But if you're very good and you go win, let's say there's 6 rounds, right, and you win 4 or 6, you can pay for all of your racing for the entire year, no problem.
Dude, exactly. Because like the Jet Blaster class, is the GP. What is that? Is that GP3? No.
Yep.
What is it? Okay. So GP3, I saw first place is $1,000.
Yep.
Right. So if you're that good on a Jet Blaster, and you have the Jet Blaster with the formula to beat everybody else and the talent, you get $1,000 a weekend. $1,000 a weekend paid for your travel, like for you to drive your rig down there with your either small enclosed or 2-place trailer or single place, whatever. Yeah. All your gas and probably your hotel. Yeah. Like, that's awesome. I mean, because in even 800s, they all take 110 octane. So you figure you're talking what, $50 a 5-gallon. So you're burning through probably $200 in fuel plus all the gas in your rig, like everything else. Like, I don't know. I think it's great.
I think I hope over the time, right? I hope that runabout GP3 class picks up, because I think that at the end of the day, right? Let's say there's 20 guys like you, right, in that class. You guys are all, I know the 800 class, everybody loves it because it's a competitive class, right? But if every one of you guys went to the GP Runabout 3 class and bought Jet Blasters and Sparks, it would be way cheaper to maintain than the 800 class. And the racing would be just as good and just as competitive. And you would make something back out of it. And you could still race 800 at the events that have 800.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what led me to do that whole deal with Brad to begin with, because it's like, you're fighting with parts to get from the 90s. None of this stuff is new.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's junk. You can't use it. Like carburetors are a fortune. They're $1,100 to $1,200 to $1,500 to whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, there's some knowledge out there, but the guys who have worked their asses off to make their 800s what they are. I mean, I wouldn't, if somebody called me and was like, hey man, can you give me like all your specs? No.
Right.
Like, so you gotta find all the information, everything. You could jump on a 4-stroke Yamaha or a 4-stroke Sea-Doo and spend like, what's a brand new one? 9,000, 10,000?
Under 10 grand.
Yeah. And then you're going to spend another $3,000 on parts. And like you said, there's no maintenance. I put gas in it and I go.
That's it. I mean, dude, what I try to tell people, I'm like, the average guy, they're like, oh, well, you still got to go buy a $10,000 ski. I said, yeah, but you can walk into a dealership. You can buy a $10,000 ski right now for 1.99 interest, right? You can be racing for $210 a month.
Well, the other thing too is like, you're somewhat aware of how much prices are. Like, you can't build a competitive 800 for under 10K.
No, hell no. You can't build a spec blaster for under that.
No.
A spec blaster, you're going to spend $2,500 for the haul, a set of carbs of $1,000, $1,200. You got a head, pipe is another $1,200. I mean, dude, you'll spend $8,000 to $10,000 on a full built blaster. I mean, don't get me wrong, the HX you can build for probably $3,000, $3,500, which is reasonable. Yeah. But if you want a blaster, I mean, dude, yours $10,000 in the thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, as fun as they are, dude, they're pains in the asses.
Yeah. I mean, and I love that. I love guys like you are doing it, right? Because it's the, like I've told you probably 5 times since you and I talked, your shit is mint, bro. It's absolutely amazing. And when I got 4 of them in my shop that I'm going to get one of them to you and have you build it at some point for me, just to, even if I don't race it, just to have it, because you and I have become friends and bullshit now, and it'd be cool to have on my wall for 20 years from now. So when you're old as shit, you can come say, hey man, I built that guy's ski on that shelf up there.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's just, but dude, like I just feel like the amount of headache it is, like
Yeah.
that's probably one of the reasons why I don't try to involve myself in racing so much, is because
Yeah.
I'm one of the guys to where you see a guy on the beach and he's having problems and you're like, "Ah, fuck, I'm just gonna go help him."
Yeah.
And then you're bent over and they're just finicky, dude. Like,
Yeah. Nonstop.
That's why I think that this series is so cool, because I think to get a Jet Blaster or a Spark, you could get in there, get your feet
Yep.
wet, and then I think that it would lead up to the bigger classes. Like if you want to get into jet ski racing, that's what you should talk about. What
Even
is
in
it?
even in the runabout endurance class, just say the amateur runabout endurance, right? Don't get me wrong, the ski is more expensive, right? But you can go buy, for example, a new runabout, let's say approximately 20 grand, right? And you got, like on a Yamaha or Sea-Doo or whatever, you got another 3 grand right into it. So you got $23,000 out the door, ready to race. The only thing you got to do in that ski, Yamaha or the Sea-Doo, is pretty much put gas in the thing, and you can ride it for year after year. I mean, the maintenance is pretty chill, especially in amateur class. You can ride the thing. They run on pump gas. You can easy maintenance, right? You can, you put a reflash tune in it. You put sponsons, handling, seat cover, steering. I mean, anyone can build it in their garage. Riva works. Everybody else makes parts that bolt directly on them. You don't have to work them. You don't have to tear the motors apart, and you can be competitive for 20 grand. So at that price, right? You buy the ski, $300-400 a month. The guys that don't want to outlay the cash, and they can go race every single weekend and be competitive, for a $200 entry fee and a $200 payment. And let's say the IHRA series is once a month. So you got $500 in watercraft payment and entry fees, right? And then you got your hotels, your travel. So let's just say by the time you're all done in the entire weekend, you got $2 grand in it. Let's say $2 grand, give or take. $2 grand, and you're going to win $1,000. So really, you can't dude, you can't even go bowling and not spend $200 nowadays.
Well, so that's kind of what I wanted to lead this into, is that since you've been doing it so long, and we're touching on it now, like how would you get your feet wet? And that's a great example that I've kind of really never thought about, because I don't like to finance stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just like you don't, but
yeah. But there are a lot of guys out there that do it, and I understand that.
No, for sure.
I was in the dealership business, right? And 85% of our customers are finance.
Yeah, for sure. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But like what you said, the way that my brain would go after calculating out what you calculate out would be, okay, well, I'm spending the X amount of money on this ski. Like I would take the payments off of so your races are what, March through, when's the last one? August?
September.
All right. So let's say you paid your payments are like $250 and you pay from March to September. Right?
Yeah.
I would take the rest of that money that I had spent and just thinking like it was a chance to race. It was a chance to have fun, meet new people, whatever else. Dude, you have peanuts into that ski by the time you figure out like the end of the year. You could still go sell that ski.
Oh yeah.
Then, recoup like a decent amount of money, and then just go do it again next year.
Dude, a $20,000 ski that let's say you have 23 grand into that ski, right? That same ski is going to sell for $18,000. You
don't lose much on them.
Nah. So, I mean, dude, you got to think about in a year's time, if you lost $5 grand, the average person is spending way more than $5,000 to do their hobby. I promise you.
Exactly.
Dude, you go to Andretti's. I went to Andretti's go-karts the other day with my wife and kids, and it was $400 in go-kart rides. Dude,
I took my my wife's cousins go-karting, 3 boys and me, right? So 4 people. And I was like, bro, I'll just pay for it, which I don't care. They're kids in college and one in high school. Yeah. I could not believe the amount of money it costs to do that for like what, 2 hours.
Right. That's
No
the
food.
thing.
No food. It
No.
was just
No
racing.
payout.
It's
No
insane.
trophy.
No, not at all.
No
So
risk. No wristies at the end. Nothing.
nothing, dude. Nothing.
Nothing.
So if you were to give somebody advice to get their feet wet, because I'm sure there's people that are going to watch this that are kind of on the border of like, I really want to do this, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't, what in your opinion for class, like in your series or Great Lakes or whatever, what is the best way to start?
I'd say if you want to ride, two things you got to figure out, right? What do you want to ride, sit down or stand up? And if you want to, either one, if you want to ride sit down, no problem. If you want to ride stand up, no problem. And then I would get into the runabout GP3 class or the ski GP3 class, or the third class is if you want to go to the next level of spending some money, would be the amateur endurance, right? So there's 3 classes that you can spend. You can either spend $12,000 to race, or you can spend $22,000 to race. And those 3 classes will get you either the runabout endurance class, it will get you the ski endurance or ski GP3 class, or runabout GP3 class. And those 3 classes are going to be competitive classes. The skis will maintain all year. You don't have to work on them on a weekend. You just got to wash them, take care of them, put fuel in them, and that's it. Check the oil, and they're all turnkey skis. You buy a new Yamaha Superjet, you buy a new Yamaha Jet Blaster or a Sea-Doo Spark, or you buy a Yamaha FX GP or a Sea-Doo RXP 325. Those skis, right? Or the Ultra. The Ultra, unfortunately, takes a lot more parts to make competitive, but the rest of the skis are pretty easy to bolt parts on too. And, it's easy to get started, man. And I promise you, if racers get into that and give it a shot, they'll love it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think a lot of people would like it. Like, you got to really like 2 strokes to get into what I do, or like sports spec.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would be discouraged to go to a racetrack and do a couple hot laps and then realize it doesn't run well, and then you're working on it half the event. I think what you said, the GP3 class would probably be the best, because you can get a Jet Blaster for like, I think they're like 8,700 or 9,500.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you can get financing on it or whatever. But I mean, 9,500, dude, you can't even build a limited with that anyways. So I would just go right to that if I was to do it.
Correct. I mean, and that's the best thing. And the class, at the end of the day, you're racing because you want the fun and the competitiveness of it, right? If there's 20 Jet Blasters and Sparks on the line, I can promise you that's going to be just as fun as the 800 class. It's going to be more fun because you don't have to work on the shit all weekend.
Exactly. So I think we need to build the GP3 class.
I think, my honest opinion, I think that if people will get into that class, that could be the next 800 class, right? I'm not saying get rid of 800, not at all. Keep the 800. You guys got 800s, keep them. But if you guys, all the racers out there that want to get into something cool that is, can make a little bit of money, that can be just as fun as the 800 class, and that can have the competitiveness and the racers show up and have that bumping and banging and that close racing, because they're small, they're nimble, they're easy to maneuver. You can move them around your garage. You can load them on a trailer by yourself, right? You don't need 6 people to go with you to handle it.
Yeah. That's the problem with those big boats, dude. You cannot get them on and off beach carts by themselves.
Nah, dude, it's a pain in the ass.
And that's the worst part, because you're not going to stick a trailer and a ski in your garage. You want to put it on a beach cart.
Right.
And pulling it off, you're going to get a freaking hernia. But
oh, dude,
I agree with you.
We pull them like on our skis, like most of my guys at the shop, when there's nobody there with them or whatever, and have 4 people to pull it off, they hook the side-by-side with a winch on it and drag it off the trailer to pull it on a cart.
Yeah, I had a RXP at one time that because my wife was like, those skis are too small. I want a bigger ski. So I bought RXP, and I put a crank on my wall in my garage, and I would crank it off the trailer every time. Because there's no way to do it.
And it's asinine that you need to do that, right? But that's the size of the skis nowadays.
They're huge, dude.
Yeah, it's huge. They're too big. To a certain extent, it's great for certain things, but in a perfect world, if you said to me if I was in charge of Yamaha and Sea-Doo and Kawasaki, I'd say, okay, cool, make those classes. But we're also going to build this amazing, like 1 or 2 seater ski that's, in between, bigger than 800, because the 800 is a little bit too small for the average racing nowadays, but something smaller than the Runabout, maybe something a little bit bigger than the Jet Blaster, just barely.
The new Jet Blaster is just so small. It's it's almost like a Spark with the cutouts. You know what I mean?
Like what I envision a perfect size watercraft is the Yamaha GPR 1200 or the STXR 1200.
Yeah, the GP 1200. I would agree with you. But
like a new version of that would be amazing with the 4-stroke in it.
I'm surprised they haven't done some type of version that's kind of like in the middle from like the Jet Blaster. You know what I mean? Jet Blaster, and then you should have something in the middle, and then your big ski.
Yeah.
But
well, they kind of do. It's it's the EX and stuff, but nobody races it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the one that I have is like the EX Hull, but it's the Jet Blaster.
But I meant, like the old version, the EX, the fiberglass one, which was the EX or the VX. It's like the VX model, actually, is what it's called now.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Which it's the next size ski, but it's not a race ski, which, it could be, right? I mean, like the problem is nobody ever made it a race ski or tried to make it a race ski and made a class for it, because otherwise it probably could have been a good class. It actually handles pretty good if you ride the thing.
Yeah, I haven't ridden one. I do agree with you, though. I think that the GP3 class should be, it should be bigger than what it is. In our region at Great Lakes, at Great Lakes, we probably have like 10 to 12 in the line. So we have a pretty big, I don't know. I think you're going to get more entries than you have right now. Just so everybody knows, when is the race?
I think there's 10 or 11 in that class right now. And I think there'll probably be about 15 in that class when it's done. And I think on the average, it'll go up and down throughout the season, right? But you got to look like amateur endurance. Dude, we have 40.
I know, dude. I saw the sheets for it. I keep seeing the, like the stories that you post, or like the IHRA, because I follow them. I can't get over it. So are you gonna have to have qualifying for that, or no?
No. So endurance will allow in endurance formats, we allow 40 on the line at once,
dude.
Because it's a giant track. It's a 2.5 mile track.
So are you doing Farthing Racing? Do you have skis like you did last year, or have you dialed it back a little bit?
Well, we don't have as many as we had last year. It's and it's not because I didn't enjoy it. I actually did enjoy it. But it's just like anything, right? How much time do I have to do everything, right? Like I went to my shop today, and the guys that work in my shop, they're like, dude, we never see you anymore. I'm like, dude, because I'm on 8,000 Zoom calls a day, right? It's what do you want to do? Do you want me to build a race series for you guys to go race so you can continue to get paid? Because if I don't build a series that the sponsors pay us to go race, there's no reason for me to have a race team. So it's a give and take. So, they're used to seeing me at the shop every day, hanging out, right? Bullshitting. And, I don't get to do that. I get to sit in my office and organize sponsorships and, put money together and raise stuff to give back to racers.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you guys,
but I love the challenge
too, right?
I mean, for me, it's they offer all the time. They're like, hey, do you want to hire this person? You want to do this? And I'm just control freak, right? It's like, they offer it all the time. And I'm like, I'm good, man. Like, dude, it's so funny. People must think like, obviously, just like you, right? They know how much time and stuff goes into it. Bobby Cardone calls me the other day and he's like, hey, man, you got time for a second? I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, I just want to ask how you're doing. And I'm like, I'm okay. What the hell? I don't understand what you're calling me about. And he's like, well, I just know that, everybody calls you for everything. And I wanted to just make sure you were good. Like everything that somebody's asked you how you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I get a text from a guy named Ryan Stevens as a racer yesterday. And he's like, hey, man, how are you? And I'm like, good. What's up? And he's like, just want to check on your headspace and see. He goes, I can't even imagine doing all the things you're doing. And I just wanted to let you know that we appreciate you. And we just, can imagine nobody's, offered to say thank you or how you're doing. And I'm like, nah, dude, I said, I'm used to 10 dealerships and 350 employees. I can do this in my sleep.
Yeah. It does seem like a lot of moving pieces between like I mean, again, like you said, this started in December, right? And now we're in March. It's not that much time.
Yeah. But that's been that's honestly what I enjoyed the most, right? When I bought dealerships, I love running the dealerships and doing those, right? But the first 36 months of every dealership is what I enjoy the most, because that's my life with racing, right? Has always been chaotic, right? You got to prepare, you got to train, you got to mentally be ready, you got to get there, you got to mentally, fuck everyone mentally in their head to beat them. And you got to do all these things, right? And you got all this shit going. And that's how business is for me, right? And that's why when I first got into business, I loved it, because it was just like racing, right? You're competing to be the best. And my brain works like that all the time. So, when you're starting a business, the first 36 months are the funnest, best times for me.
Just hit the ground running.
That's it. And when you're so busy, you don't think about all the shit you got to do.
Exactly. And you don't have time to get stressed out either. You just gotta go.
I don't even think about it. People ask me all the time, what do you think about it? I can't sleep worth a shit anyways. I never have been able to. I take Ambien to go to sleep at night. So I take Ambien, I go to sleep at night, and I sleep, and then I wake up the next day and I roll again. That's it.
Yeah, dude, I get 5 hours a day. That's it.
Yeah.
5 hours. That's all I need.
Yeah. It's one of the things, man. It's all, it's part of the routine. I don't even think twice about it. Like I appreciate people checking on me, but the reality is it's awesome. Thank you so much. Right. But for me, it's literally, when I say I don't even think twice about it, it doesn't even faze me.
No, that's really cool. So is there something that you're most excited about with starting the series? Like, is it the end result? Because the end result will be in Havasu for your own type of World Finals, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And that's obviously the goal, right? The end goal is getting to the last race and having the best race. The last race, I can give you like a little sneak peek at. We got, Monster's going to be the title sponsor for the event. We have semi trucks coming.
Don't tell me you're doing freestyle. If you're doing freestyle, I'm going.
Well, we have Keith Sayers and Twitch and all those guys are going to be there doing freestyle motocross.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
How'd you swing that one?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that Monster committed to. It was one of the things that we pushed from the beginning. What Monster calls like Supercross, right? What's called their activation team, which freestyle bicycles, skateboarding, motocross, all that stuff. So as much as I needed their money, right, I wanted the cool activations to make it cool. So we got the commitments for all that about 2 weeks ago.
And you know where the location already is for the World Finals, or no?
So we have 3 locations that we've worked with on the city, and we're doing a site walk, but we're really just dependent on what works the best for all that stuff, right? The freestyle motocross and everything that works well.
Yeah, because I'd imagine you have to have like a huge either piece of land that's by it or like a giant parking lot. Or that's one of the things about World Finals. Like there was never. So I went there when I had a couple skis in World Finals, and number one, it was lackluster. Like it wasn't great. And this probably was 2023.
Yeah.
I heard the years after that were worse, obviously, but you had to park on top of a hill. You had to walk all the way down if you wanted to be a spectator, which if I was going as a spectator and I didn't have skin in the game to watch my skis perform and be there if they needed me, I don't think I would have went. Like,
well, that's why they've lost. That's why they've lost all the spectators over the years, because they moved it from the location it was, where you're able to park and walk 5 feet into the entrance. Now they have it over there. And the first couple of years, they got spectators to go in there because they were trained right from coming from the original location that they wanted to go. But then after they started being at that location for a few years, everybody stopped coming because they realized that they didn't want to do all that bullshit. So the people just quit coming, the spectators, right? The only people that are there now are people that are personally connected to the watercraft racing. And we don't, yes, it's cool to have you that's into racing there, but that doesn't benefit the sport. You're already in the sport.
Right.
So our location,
no, I agree.
Our location will not be built like that. Our location where we're going to have it is a location that you'll be able to park. It'll have, you'll be able to walk in, you'll be able to you'll be able to park from your car and be into the race site in, 3 minutes or less.
No, that's really cool. Yeah. The last race at Great Lakes that we did, that had like the most spectators I've ever seen at one of the races that I had gone to. And I thought it was really cool. Like there was people setting up lawn chairs, just watching, because they thought it was just they've never seen anything like it.
Which one was that?
I think that's, oh man, it was in Wisconsin. I don't remember where it was. Kelly came down from Georgia, and him and I both went to it. That's when Brad ran my brand new ski over.
Fucking Brad.
Brad, listen, dude. Brad designs the course, okay? Because he owns Great Lakes.
Right.
He turns in on the third buoy, and I ramp Brad, okay? So I blow the back off the XPL. Well, not blow it off, but take a chunk out of the XPL.
Yeah.
I'm on the tan ski, and my tan ski had like an hour and a half on it at this point. And then Kelly comes, who I just finished his boat. Kelly comes around and ramps my boat, the whole back end. I still tease Brad to this day. Like, he did that because I had his ass. Like,
so the guy created his own race course and then got lost on his own race course.
Yeah, and then he ruined the guy's ski that builds for him. Who does that?
Oh shit!
And then the other guy that he builds for runs over the builder's brand new ski.
Dude, that's terrible. What a weekend.
No, I just had, well, yeah, especially since it had like an hour and a half on the boat.
Yeah.
But I just had it fixed, so it's all mint, ready to go for you.
I like it. I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool, dude. What else you got? What do we miss? This is my first podcast, and I don't know if I touched all the bases.
Yeah, man. I think I know you obviously. Let's talk about your ski, man. The ski you're building.
Which one?
The one you're building for the giveaway.
Oh, all right. So the one I'm building for the giveaway.
Yeah, let's explain that to everybody.
Yeah, for sure, dude. The one that I'm building for the giveaway is a 97 SPX. And it's going to be exactly what you see me build on like the YouTube or you see on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. There's not going to be any expense spared. It's not going to be something I just slap my name on and say like, yeah, it's ready to go. Like, it's going to have a fully built motor, brand new crank, brand new counterbalance shaft, like powder coated engine cases, Pro X pistons, probably like 37.5 cc domes. I'm going to set the squish to where all my squish is at for my race motors. It's going to have 46 SRE carburetors, mag pump. So it'll have like the 140 setback in it. It'll have R&D nozzles, R&D 3-degree trim tabs. It'll have the 4-bolt, what would that'd be like OXT style sponsons. It's going to have a full livery wrap of Greg Biffle.
Yeah.
It'll be UMI, single gauge hood. I'm going to paint the interior of the hull. It'll be wet sanded and buffed to like perfection. It'll be an extremely competitive 1100 boat.
Yeah.
Obviously it takes the right rider, but
yeah, of course.
So far, just in my little spreadsheet of tracking, the boat's already like 11 grand and we're not painting it.
Right.
So from my painted boats, like Brad's or Kelly's or mine, if you add up all the powder coating, because like you know how much stuff goes into details. Like,
oh, it's ridiculous.
And you've seen my boats before. Like, they have like the carbon fiber block offs and the carbon fiber hoods and everything else. So like one of my boats that you see online, without labor, parts and materials, and the hull is like 14 to 15K, and 2,500 of that is probably paint. So this one should come right in around 11 to 12 grand.
Yeah, think how sick that is, man, that you're giving that back to everybody. So I know personally for me, it's not, a class that I, race. Maybe I'll race, whatever. But for the racers and stuff, man, we, as a racer, I appreciate and thank you for that, because I don't think people realize how much time, effort, and money goes into that you're willing to do that for the sport.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. I think it'll be great, just because like we talked about earlier in the podcast, is like, dude, I know how much work goes into it. You know how much work goes into it.
Absolutely.
Like, it'd be nice to go to a race and work your ass off for like however long. And the best thing about it is just like your race, it's one weekend. It's not a Triple Crown.
Right.
I don't have to go to 3 different locations across, America to win this pot. It's one weekend, 2 rounds, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Winner takes all. First place, second place, and third place. It's 10K at that race, and it'll be split up. I don't know how Brad's going to split it up, but it's 10K. And then whatever we make from that over 10K, so like say entries make like 20K, Brad's going to take the rest of that money that's left over from the 10K that he put up for that, that's Michigan race.
Yep.
And Harbor Beach. And he's going to put that money that's left over in another pot for Virginia for 800.
That's awesome.
So it's a double dip because I know it'll make over
huge. 10K. Yeah, it's going to be sick.
Yeah, and then he's doing tickets at $50 a shot. So, I mean, if you think about what we talked about earlier and what I just said, for you to build it, not only do you have to have the knowledge, but you have to count your labor and time that you wasted on this thing. Yeah. But for you to build it and it costs you $12K, if you could win it for, a gamble of $500.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, you do it all day long.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it'll be great. It'll be good. Yeah. And then if this is successful, I told Brad next year we do a HX.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Dude, I got a HX I picked up off of Tori.
Yeah.
He had one that was all white. So I have a Marlboro themed wrap to do the HX. Cool. And
yeah,
I already rendered it, dude. It looks so dirty that I'm doing it no matter what.
That's cool.
It'd be badass.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
No, it's cool. So tell everybody when's your first race? It's in 3 weeks. What's the date? And give the location one more time so that if they want to enter it, they can. And if they want to spectate, which I'm sure it'll be great to spectate.
Yeah, even if if the guys don't make it, right? Everybody can watch it online. There's going to be live streaming. It'll be on the YouTube page. It'll be on the IHRA webpage. It'll be on Speed Sport 1 online, and that'll be available on a couple of networks, as well as you can obviously come watch it in person. March 27th through the 29th in St. Petersburg, Florida, right at the pier downtown.
Cool, man. I can't wait. I'm obviously going to watch it live, but
it's going to be sick, man.
I think it's going to be huge, dude. It's going to be huge.
I'd expect there'll be 150 racers as well as 85 power boats.
Yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting that the power boats are there too.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big event, man. Monster's doing a big racer party on Friday night. Monster's got a racer party. We're having DJ coming in. We got hospitality. We got VIP areas. It's going to be a cool event.
Yeah.
No, and then New Orleans, New Orleans, the next one, similar. And then we have professional bull riding coming in. We're setting up a bull riding ring at the pit area, and they're having professional bull riding coming in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I think the
Ozarks one. Every race will be a cool thing, cool themed every event.
I think the Ozarks one will be sick because Ozarks.
Yeah, that one does a huge shootout, big parade, parties downtown.
It's during the shootout?
Yeah.
It's during the shootout?
Yeah. It's going to be sick.
It's going to be sick, dude. And I think after the first one, when everybody sees because I'm sure, obviously, right, in life, when you're doing something, no matter if it's like building jet skis to doing something fitness wise or any niche that you try to do, right? There's always somebody that's like, this guy, fuck this fucking guy. You know
all the time. I think part of life.
No matter what, dude, you always have a hater. So I think that just because a lot of people don't know your story, which I'm hoping that this podcast will bring across your story to, I think a lot of you and I talked about this before, but a lot of people see Dustin Farthing, the competitor, and the guy that will literally do anything to win versus Dustin Farthing as the human being.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will kind of get people to see the actual person and not what they've heard from somebody else.
The Dustin Farthing racer is the guy that'll slit your wrist and slit your throat and not think twice about it. And then, I race against my own sons, and I would do any single thing to beat my own kid. So that'll tell you the racer I am. I don't give a shit about any of them. But the Dustin Farthing, the other side is the Dustin Farthing that when the hurricanes, and all the stuff was going on in Houston and everything was, underwater and everybody lost everything. That was the Dustin Farthing that sent his airplane to Houston with 3 loads of water and supplies, toilet paper, and all the stuff. And then when the hurricanes hit Florida, Dustin Farthing flew his airplane there full of supplies for all the people to give back out his own dollar, and spent, those 2 trips alone. I spent almost $100,000 out of my own pocket to feed and house and help the people of all these different places.
And nobody else knows that, and you haven't posted anywhere. And the only reason why they know it now is because you told the story.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like, it's little things, right? Like that. You don't see the things every day, and right, it's not things we talk about every day. And it's just like you and I talked about the amount of stuff, right, that I have that you didn't even know I have, right? And all the different cars and different things and stuff that you see, once you and I have talked and you see it all. It's not everybody's privy to all the information, right? And you only see a book, right? You can judge a book by its cover, right? And everybody doesn't always know the details. And yeah, there's a lot of people that think they know all the details, right? But there's a lot of stuff they actually don't really know.
Well, there's a lot of people that see someone, not just you, but like they'll see, we talked about before, social media is highlight reels, right? I'm not going to post something when I'm like at my worst time. Like,
right.
It's just not going to happen. So I think a lot of people see other people's highlight reels, right? And they're like, oh dude, he's like so set, or like he's got money coming out of his ass, or he has no care in the world, or whatever. It's just not the case. So I'm glad that we were able to do this.
We all deal with our own shit, right? Right. It's like, we're all married, right? We all deal with, fighting with your wife, or fighting with your kid, or this drama or that drama, or this bullshit, or, your bills, or your car's broken, or, I mean, dude, we're all human beings, right? I've been in all the same situations, bro. I grew up in a house that was $60,000, right? Like, I didn't come from money. I didn't come from, anything like that. I came from, my mom cleaned pools when I was a kid. My dad, worked on things. I mean, it's like we came from real life experiences, and I just, had the will to never give up, and it's why we are here today.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not as far up as you are, but like people look at the stuff that's built on the channel or posted, whatever. Like, Jarman's Power Sports behind me has never made a dime.
Yeah,
zero, none. I just do it because I like doing cool shit, and
right, because you're a good dude. You're a good dude, and people probably take advantage of that. And they don't believe, they talk shit at times, and probably, I'm sure, have feelings about you, or say this or say that, right, when they don't even really know you at the end of the day, right? They know what they think they know, and and they judge you, and then they just come back afterwards, and you and I have a conversation. You're like, holy shit, like this guy's not even anything like everybody's made him out to be.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point, dude. Like you shouldn't say anything about anybody until you actually meet them face to face, and
correct.
You can either tell them, you can either then say like, this guy's a fucking jagoff, or
right,
I was wrong. You know what I mean? So,
and that's the way I look at it, right? Just because somebody that I know doesn't like somebody else, I don't not like that guy because that person doesn't like. I have lots of friends groups that don't get along with other people, right? That's just the way of life. But I don't make that other person that's not friends with this person not be friends with that person, right? And especially, sure, I don't say I don't like someone when I've never even fucking said a word to them in my entire life.
For sure, dude. For sure. No, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down. We've been talking for, shit, we could probably go 2 more hours for the way we're going, but no, I really appreciate you taking the time.
We'll do a follow-up podcast when you get farther into the ski, and we'll talk some more about that stuff. And then we'll also be able to talk about, at that point, be able to talk about the first 2 rounds of the IHRA tour. Yeah.
So Brad and I had talked, and Brad kind of thought it'd be a good idea to do a podcast that was just kind of like what you said, like reviewing the first couple rounds. Like every round we do a podcast, and we just talk about like what happened.
Yeah.
Like racers, like what they do for motorsports in like F1 or motocross, whatever. So we started a channel called Great Lakes Water Talk.
Okay.
So it's gonna be that. It's gonna be me, and it's gonna be Mike Remar, and then we're gonna have people on. So like we'll have you on.
Yeah.
And then like we'll have a couple racers on, just kind of like obviously we'll never be, well, I shouldn't say that because then you limit yourself, but like a Gypsy Tales type deal.
Yeah.
Or like kind of like what Carmichael and Villapoto do, or however you want to take it. But no, man, that would be cool. And I think you should start your own because you just know so many people. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, Monster's been pushing me to do my own podcast. That's why I bought microphone and some headphones and some other shit recently, and you and I talked about it. So I think it'll be coming. I just need to get through this first race and get all my shit done, and also fulfill all my contracts with Monster and all my sponsors and stuff for the race team.
Yeah, for sure. No, you got your hands full, so don't start a podcast now. Give it a couple.
No, I'll wait. I'll wait a few weeks.
Yeah, there you go. I said a couple months, and then I figured you were going to say a few weeks.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate it.
No, thanks for coming on. I hope to talk to you in the future, and good luck at the first race, dude. You've put so much work into it. I know it'll be great, and awesome. All the racers, including myself, we're just really grateful that somebody's doing something to step up and make this worth our while, because like we said 100 times in this, everybody works so hard, whether it's they're going to the gym to train or rebuilding skis from ground up or whatever, to go out there and just kind of get the shit kicked out of them because World Finals is a joke and everything else. It's great what you're doing, and I think everybody appreciates it.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know, man, I really appreciate the support already in the series, the racers standing behind it. And obviously without all you guys, right, we wouldn't be able to build such a great series, right? So thank you to everybody that stepped up. Thank you to everybody that's thinking about coming. And I really appreciate it, man. We're looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. I think you'll have a great, I think you'll be really good success.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Congrats on getting this far from December to now, because not a lot of people could do it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right, man. Nice talking to you. Have a good
All right, buddy. We'll talk soon. All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
See ya.